G'day there folks, I'm Beanie, you're watching Beanie Draws, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to draw this, but more awesomely. And what is this? Well, this is my interpretation of Diabolous Rex, or Diabolous Rex, how the people used to pronounce it. Diabolous Rex was the name of what used to be Indominus Rex before Indominus Rex became Indominus Rex, and basically before when Indominus Rex was first announced, it was known as Diabolous Rex, or that was the rumor of its name. And this, I obviously didn't draw this before then, but the idea behind this drawing is that I wanted to put my mindset into what it was like to imagine what Diabolous Rex would have looked like based only on the idea that Diabolous Rex, i.e. Indominus Rex, was a genetic splice of Tyrannosaurus Rex and Velociraptor together, and that was all we had to go by. So I'm trying to put my mindset into that state of mind, having imagined that I've never seen Indominus Rex before. And basically the idea behind this is I wanted to make a dinosaur that's even more vicious than like Tyrannosaurus or Spinosaurus combined. So I'm going to teach you how to draw this, and I'm going to teach you how to draw it, but even better. I just basically drew this just to give myself an idea of what I wanted it to kind of look like, and hopefully this audio isn't shot, because the louder I talk, the more the audio kind of gets a bit crappy. So hopefully that audio wasn't all messed up then. But yeah, let's get to it. Make sure that I'm just going to put a little bounding area, so put a little shape there, a little shape around there. So what we're going to do is kind of put in a bit of a stick figure of dinosaur. So I'm going to put in a oval, if you can even see that. So we're going to do an oval. That's going to be its body. Then I'm going to put in a line for its tail, and the old trick of curling the tail in so that you don't have to have it all the way off the page, and you can fit a bit more in the spot. Then I'm just going to put in a rough head shape, rough head circle. That's going to have all the cool bits. And the good thing about having drawn this just before is now I can kind of get a better idea for positioning. So I drew an oval here. That will be for the leg. A little spot for the knee. Gonna have a little oval here. A little oval, sort of egg oval for the calf. And then have the foot come out like that. That's going to be the ankle, and just going to have it like that for now, just roughly. Then there's going to be a shoulder here. I might readjust a little bit, but basically the reason why I have that shoulder up there and that shoulder down there is the shifting of the body weight, because it's going for a swipe and also a roar. So I'm going to have a upper arm oval, a lower arm oval, and then the claws will just kind of come out here, sort of resting. So I'm just going to draw some little rough stick figure shapes. Then what we'll do is have an oval here. That will be the arm, and then a elbow. And then we'll have some stick figure fingers coming out there. So 3 lines. The outside lines being a little bit shorter, and then that will connect into the elbow, and we'll put in a bit of an arm shape there. So it's a little bit of a weird little oval, half an oval maybe. And yeah, that's other than putting in the neck. Other than putting in the neck like that. That is the rough. Oh, actually, hang on. We'll also put in a quick line here. That's going to be the hip. put in a little bit of a line here for where the leg will go, a knee circle, that kind of shape up here. Very light line, so hopefully you can see what I've done so far. That will be the ankle. Bring out the... I remember someone told me what this was, but I can't remember what it is right now. Basically, that's the extension of the leg that goes towards the feet. And then I'll have the feet there. And what I did with this dinosaur was I gave it really big Velociraptor claws. So there's a hook there. And then what I do here is I do a bit of a curved line down there. And then a curved line here. It goes up to about there. That's my rough little way of drawing a Velociraptor hook to begin with. So I'll do the same thing here. A little bit of a hook, semicircle, moon kind of shape. It goes out to about there. And then just give it the little pudgy connector toe thing around there. And the reason why I gave this Diabolus Rex big hook on its toe is because when I first heard of the Diabolus Rex, I was a little bit disappointed, to be honest, that Indominus Rex didn't have the big Velociraptor hook, because when it said that it was a combination of Tyrannosaurus and Velociraptor, I was really expecting to see really huge claws on its toes. It did have a big claw in the middle of its fingers, which I would assume that was their take on the Velociraptor claw, but I would have thought it would be really cool to see that on the feet, so that's why I'm going to do that right there. And also, the way I'm going to do the head, those of you who know about the dinosaur Ultimasaurus, I think it's called, will see some very strong similarities there, because it's going to have Triceratopsy kind of horns, but also kind of Carnotaurus kind of horns, because I wanted the T-Rexy elements to be really ferocious. So what we're going to do actually is we've got the body. I'm going to bring out the tail to about there. So I'm just going to rough in the tail. And those of you who say, oh, I can't even draw a stick figure, this is my interpretation of a stick figure. Think of it like those little posable mannequins that you get from the art store. So it's basically structured like that. Ovals, circular connecting points, ovals, and the occasional line, and a little neck. That's my basic stick figure. And that's how you can kind of build everything, I reckon. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in the camera so we can get a little bit of detail into that head. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to do the head. The head is somewhat similar to a Tyrannosaurus head, naturally, because it's a Tyrannosaurus blended in with a Velociraptor. But I'm just going to give it the top shape of the mouth. I find it's easier to do the shape of the mouth first. So I'm going to put in the mouth. That also gives me an idea of how wide I want the mouth to be. So I'm going to give it the curl. This little point here is the front of the mouth, because it's kind of at an angle. And bring it down, and bring it up, and out to about there. And then what I usually do is I draw the outer edge of the lower jaw, bring it out to about there, give it a chin. Then I'm going to give it a Tyrannosaurus-y shaped part of the jaw down here, so I'm going to bring it out here. We'll draw the chin. The chin will come up towards the jaw, and when drawing this, it doesn't matter how exact your lines are, because we will always be, readjusting and that, as you saw in the, okay. As you can see, there's a lot of messy lines there. See, I've got 2 lines for the chin, and there's multiple lines here. That's how I work with things. So next, we will work in the front of the nose, and I will put in the top of the snout line, bring it up to about there, and I also want to have really big horns. So I'm going to put in some lines for the horns. Because I imagined Diabolous Rex having... Diabolous Rex, the sound, reminded me of the word diabolical or devil. So I kind of imagined some big horns, kind of like a carnotaurus, on the top of a tyrannosaurus-y looking head. So I've put in these lines and a pointy horn up there. This horn is small because it's kind of facing us. I'm going to bring in a line down here. That's going to be kind of like what I did for the Allosaurus drawing, if any of you have seen that. You can type in Allosaurus Beanie draws if I forget to annotate that one. I'm going to draw in the horn up here. And what I do is I'm drawing it in a way so it's facing forward. So I'm doing it like that. Now, then we will give it a eye. I'm giving it a sort of a T-Rex, a sort of Indominus Rex eye, but even angrier, because I want this dinosaur to be even angrier than Indominus Rex looked. I want this thing to be ferocious. And to give that ferocious idea, I'm making the outer rim. I'm going to put in a bit of the coloring right now. So give it a very dark, I guess you could almost call it a metal, gothy, black metal kind of makeup-y looking style around its eye. So I'm just putting some dots to give it that. I saw some Velociraptors in Jurassic Park 3 that had that style as well, which I quite liked. So I'm going to put that kind of style in there and give it a slit for a pupil. And now I'm going to put in the back of the T-Rex vibed head. So I'm giving it a point out, then bring it in, and then bring it out for the back of the jaw. And then I'm going to draw in the jaw part there, bring it down so we've got a fairly strong looking jaw muscle, I guess. Yeah, that's still, I consider all this area to be the jaw. So this big area here is the jaw for me. So I've got that. I want to have some lines around here to make it look like he's snarling. So the lips are coming up to show off these fairly big T-Rex looking serrated teeth. I didn't mind the Indominus Rex teeth, but I always imagined that a diabolical, even more of a badass version of T-Rex would have really huge, but similar to T-Rex style teeth. Not like sparse and jagged, but like big. Very big. So I'm going to put the teeth along here. And some of you who've watched more of my videos regularly will notice that sometimes I put the teeth in last, and sometimes I almost forget to put the teeth in. But with this one, the teeth are very important, and the eyes are very important, which is why usually in my videos the eyes and teeth go last, but in this one, the teeth and eyes are like the first things to come in. In the bottom of the jaw, I imagine that the teeth were kind of more like Indominus Rex. So they're big and jagged and serrated, because I imagine that the bottom part of the teeth and mouth would be for grabbing things, and the top part would be for slicing things. So I'm imagining the bottom of the teeth. So having the teeth serrated, kind of like Indominus Rex, but not as jarred. So I have the teeth like that. Some of the teeth will be curled back more, some of them will be more pointy. But we're not going to have them very sort of random. They're going to be more kind of random, but very similar. I don't know. Even, I guess. What's the word I'm trying to think of? I can't even word. But they go to about there. I think I'm going to have a membrane down there. So as you can see, it does have a very strong Tyrannosaurus look to it. So I'm still giving it a very strong Tyrannosaurus vibe. But around here, I'm thinking a bit more Velociraptor-y. And what I'm going to do, after just fixing the chin up a bit more, what I'm going to do is work on the snout. Now, the T-Rex has a sort of a bumpy snout, so what I do around here is I'm going to put in a lot of lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a lot of lines, and as you will see in this one, notice how I did a lot of different kind of shapes, because I'm trying to figure out the shape of the Diabolus Rex's snout. So there's a line here for narrow snout, and the line here for multiple lines for how I want to space it out. But yeah, that is how I'm going to try and figure out how to do the snout. Now, I think I was talking about the snout. I think the problem now is that I've got a bit too much of a high ridge. I want to have a bit more of a narrow ridge, just to give it a bit more of a fierce look. I'm also trying to maintain a bit of the vibe of the original sketch that I did, but sometimes the lines don't always match up from the original to the current version. Just trying to think what we'll do next. I think I'm going to bring up the lip a bit, which will also make the teeth. Actually, we can make the teeth just still as long, but just readjusting the teeth positioning a bit. And I'll do that just by bringing the base of the tooth up towards the gum. I'm going to make the horn a little bit wider out, so it looks a little bit less like a Triceratops and more like a Carnotaurus. And adding in a few little lines here for texture. And I'm going to give it some little, just random little texture lines, like so. Not too bad. I'm going to add in a little bit of color, well, not color, but a little bit of blackness there. And actually, I think I'll bring this part of the mouth down a bit to about there and erase that line. Now I'm going to refine its shoulder and arms. Just going to flesh out the little stick figure that I made. So I'm giving it some muscles. And around here, I'm still going to give it some claws, much like the Indominus Rex, because I did like the longer claws of the Indominus Rex. And also Velociraptors have quite long claws. So in the T-Rex and Velociraptor genes, I'm giving it more of the Velociraptor elements in this part, especially in the hand, but I'm not giving it opposable fingers. I might just give it some scales up there, some scale. That's kind of how I start my lines for the hands. Round out the back of the nails a bit. Gonna have the hand around there, so I'm gonna bring the top of the fingers like so. So I got a bit of a base, and then it comes down there. Some claws, not claws, the bottom part of the fingers. So just a little bit of a curved line, and another curved line there. I'm gonna do a little bit of the chest, and have the neck of the Diabolous Rex. I'm going to make the neck look fairly like a Tyrannosaurus. So I'm giving it some wrinkly lines, just casual flowy lines. They don't have to be too perfect. I think around here I'm just going to add some little curved lines. I'm going to actually give it a fair few spikes along the back, but I think for now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the leg. I did have it as an oval, but I'm only going to have the leg formation around here. So I'm going to take it down to the knee, and the leg is going to be kind of like a splice between Velociraptor and T-Rex. So I'm going to add it at the back of the thigh muscle, and then I'm going to add some kind of wrinkled muscle lines to indicate the connecting part of the tail. I'm going to do the shin, work on the back of the calf of the muscle. So the calf is going to be thinner than a T-Rex, but thicker than a Velociraptor. And bring it down to the ankle. So around here, I'm going to refine the hand a bit more, or the arm, come out to about there. I'm going to draw a line there for the wrist, and then bring it down, and give it an elbow. I'm going to actually bring that line in, so the arm looks a little bit thinner, because it was looking a bit fat before. I think what I'll do is I'll draw the knee in now, for the other leg, and sometimes I'd hide the leg behind the body, but in this part I can actually see a bit of that leg, so the body's not going to be hiding the leg as much. So the leg is coming up. I'm just going to refine that claw, and I'm going to work on these toes. So I'm drawing the top of the toe, and then I'm doing what I usually do, drawing the claws first, then another claw, and then another claw there. These toes are spread further apart than this one, so that kind of gives you more of a three-dimensional vibe. Just going to give it some scales on the top of its toes. And then refine the Velociraptor claw part. And then just going to give it some wrinkles so it looks like it's bending on itself. Now I'm going to give it some Velociraptor padding, like so. And just going to bring the toes out a bit. And bring the that part towards the leg. I might change that around a bit, a little bit later, or now actually. I'm just going to make it a little bit fatter around there. So I'm just going to bring that line down a little bit more towards there. Okay, around here, I'm going to give it a bit more width, and I'm going to give it a very sort of prominent tyrannosaurus stance. So I'm going to draw in the nails again. And unlike that part of the foot where it's coming up, this part of the foot is planted on the ground, so I'm going to give the toes a bit more of a wide spread. Then draw some of the scales along the toe. And draw the scales up here. I find drawing the scales at the top of the toe helps in the flow of the toe. Bring the claw down like that, and draw like so, and the toe like that, and draw another toe like that. Give it a bit of a Tyrannosaurus vibe. Hopefully it looks a bit Tyrannosaurus-y. Then the claw, and draw the bottom of the claw, and just making it look Velociraptor. So I'm just adding little lines that curve around, so it looks like it's bent along itself like there. think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to work on the back. So I'm going to draw the back of the neck, bring it down and then up along the back. I'm going to give a bit more of a fatter back and bring that tail along there. I'm drawing the top of the tail. It's usually how I do tails, and then I draw the bottom of the tail and taper it in gradually towards the tip of the tail, like so. And then I just draw a little curve around here, and that makes it look like it's rounded and curling on itself, like so. Now I want to give Diabolous Rex some bigger prominent back spikes, so even more so than the Indominus Rex. So I'm just going to draw in the spikes like this, and I'm going to draw some spikes here to kind of flow down the back of the neck. So the spikes don't, they don't have to be, too exact. You can just do it how you feel like it. Because with this tutorial, it's not so much about learning how to draw this dinosaur, although you are learning how to draw it. It's more kind of like, this is inventiveness and creativity. So if you want to make the spikes look bigger, go right ahead. If you want to make the spikes smaller, go ahead as well. It's just whatever you feel like it. And here, I'm just adding little lines in these spikes to give them a bit more of texture. And then I'm just going to continue those spikes along the back. I'm also going to put some spikes. I'm giving it somewhat of a Indominus Rex styled spiking along its back, like so. But I still think that my version is more aggressive. And around here, I'm actually going to make the spikes more prominent, going along the neck, along the tail. Kind of more like an ankylosaurus, but not as ankylosaurus-y as the ultimasaurus. So I'm just going to draw these down along there. I had spikes kind of along the top, going like this. So I'm following the top line of the tail. Around here they get thinner, and then they come out again. So they get a bit wider out here. Gonna add in some more spikes along here. Gonna add in a few little spikes here. And I'm giving it some sort of bigger spike here, scale-y things along here. So just do a little bit of a point and a curve around the bottom, so that gives it a bit of a spikiness. Just adding bits and pieces here and there. And I think I'm going to add in some line textures, which will actually might actually make some scales here to make it look more sort of armor plater-ish around its thigh. Bring that down to the knee. Won't have as many of those scales, but along the leg it will. So just adding some little scale lines and bring that down towards the toes. Doing the same around this leg. And as you can see, I'm being just very loose, and if you have a light pressure, it doesn't even matter if you do it a little bit zigzaggy. It's just the impression that I do. Probably should finish up those lines there. What else am I going to do? I'm going to do the scales along here, or the spikes. So I just realized I was out of focus, so hopefully not too much of the video is out of focus in that part. I'm going to do the hand, and this is going to be that part. So that's the wrist. Bring the arm up there. Now I don't think the difference between this and Indominus Rex also is that my version, my interpretation of Diabolous Rex didn't have any quills along its arms, but I am going to draw these long clawed fingers, and it's kind of more like just touching the ground with the tippy toes of its claws. So it's not going to be spread out like that. It's just going to be more just lightly touching, like so. I'm actually kind of thinking that this hand is too close to the ground. So I'm just going to readjust this by erasing it all. I really shouldn't have put as much pressure on that pencil as I did, because now you're still going to be able to see the hand, but oh well. Such is the life of an artist. I've also made that, I think the wrist should come up more around there. I think that actually the hand would be more around there, so I'm just going to have the claws like there. The claws there, the claws there. So I just think the hand was a little bit too close to the ground, and I'm adjusting accordingly. Really shouldn't be putting hard pressure down either, in case I mess up again, but I've already done it. So, and next what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw in some coloring around, other than drawing the stomach. I'm also going to draw some kind of coloring. I'm going to do like not actually coloring it. I'm also going to tidy up these teeth a bit. But I'm going to give it some coloring with the pencil, a bit of shading, just to kind of put in the impression of color, or where I think color would go. So I'm just going to give it some wobbly dark lines around here. And I think the horns would be black, so I'm just kind of going to make the horns a bit darker. So I'm coloring them in. Not too much pressure, just a little bit of pressure on the pencil. Coloring it in there. And I'm going to give it some tiger stripes. So I'm just going to give it black tiger stripes down along its back. And when doing tiger stripes, you don't have to be perfect. You just do like random lines. Just kind of do it in a curved manner, so it looks like it's contouring with the shape of the back. And doing these kind of lines always gets a bit time consuming. Actually, I'm just going to make these horns black. So yeah, I'm going to make all these spikes black. Also, I'm going to give the tip of the tail, a very black, dark vibe, much like the Velociraptors in Jurassic Park 3. And this is a bit messy, but for something like coloring in, probably a mechanical pencil isn't the best option. You might be better off just using a regular normal pencil, but that's what I'm using at the moment. And I think after this, I'm going to do another part of this video, not in this video, but I'm going to do another part, just going over it with ink, like I usually do with a lot of my videos. And that will be the next video after this one, I think. I'm not going to go into as much detail as I usually do. Who knows, I might, but that video is not going to be tutorial-y. That video is just going to be me drawing in ink creatively, because I've done quite a lot of ink tutorials now, I think. So I don't want to spend too much time. Like the more I try to explain things, I find the slower it takes for me to. I'm not as good at actually drawing while I'm explaining. So what I'm doing here is lines along, giving it that tail muscle, but otherwise I'm just trying to be a bit creative and just around here I think it needs to be a little bit darker. So I'm just going to add in a little bit of blackness there. And some lines around here. Also, I'm thinking about doing a Patreon thing or a commission thing where basically some of these future videos I'm thinking may actually be sponsored by Patreons or commissioned artworks, where basically if you want to, basically the idea is, because I don't like the whole idea of for payment, but basically the idea is I'll decide on what the price will be. You can always request artwork, like you can always request things, and as always, whether how long it takes for me to actually get to it will just be up to my own discretion, because like it took me a while to do Godzilla, it took me a while to do Indominus Rex versus Ankylosaurus. Like I remember back then that was a few months of waiting. But I'm thinking, like, I will always do requests every now and then for, people going, oh, like, what have I had requested lately? Like, I might do another Tyrannosaurus at some point, but the main difference is between, just a regular request and a paid request will be that I think the cool thing will be that you actually get to keep the original. Like I'll find a way to ship this, like not this, what I'm drawing right now, obviously. What it will be is a you will be buying the original artwork. So for example, if you're if you paid for a request for an Indominus Rex, if you paid for a request for a Diabolous Rex, it'd be a case of, I would still draw it for video. If you don't want me to draw it as a video, then I would still do a video recording of it as a tutorial for other people to learn to draw it, but you would actually get the finished artwork sent to you. I'd figure out I'll figure out, the logistics behind it, but basically you would get the end product. I don't know if it'd be framed. Sending framed artworks through the post in Australia anyway is a bit of a challenge from what I understand, but it'd definitely be signed, and you would get to actually keep this. So I'm thinking about doing something like that. And if you don't want it to actually be recorded, you can just you can say that. And I'll work out the prices at some point. I don't want it to be too drastically priced. I just want it, basically, it's going to be like, kind of like how artists charge per hour or per 2 hours. So I'm thinking about doing something like that. So keep an eye on this channel, or if you actually want me to draw you a specific dinosaur and you want the actual physical product, if you want to commission me for an artwork, well, email me at beaniedraws@hotmail.com, and yeah, we can get talking. If you don't want it to have anything to do with the channel, you just want me to draw something for you, then yeah, commission me. But yeah, okay, now I'm just going to finish off these bits of detail, and then I'm going to continue on. Actually, I should probably also refine this part of the mouth. But yeah, this is nearly the end of this drawing. And then I'm going to do another, like I said, I'm going to do another quick-ish video of me inking it. It's not going to be super hardcore serious. It's going to be more sort of rough and loose. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's not too bad. And that's probably how I would have drawn a Diabolus Rex if I had never seen an Indominus Rex before. Basically a tyrannosaurus with a demonic, aggressive horn style, but a mixture of tyrannosaurus body shape and Velociraptor body shape. I'm just going to do the claws black, just for the sake of completion. But that will cover it for this video. Like I've said in my more recent videos now, if you do have requests, i.e. if you just want me to draw something, if you got ideas for what to draw and you just want to see it on the channel, email me your ideas at beaniedraws@hotmail.com, and it might take me a while, but I might eventually get to it. If you want to commission an artwork, it'll be like, I'll figure something out in that regard. I'm going to figure out a way for you to purchase prints of these drawings, because I think people would be interested in, it won't be best of quality, but it'll be like a decent quality print. I'm going to figure all these things out some point, but yeah. I want to take this to the next level and give you even more cool things, and potentially, be able to have your own piece of my art in your big or little hands. But hopefully you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, comment on what you thought, subscribe if you haven't already. There's going to be more stuff in the future. Thanks for watching this video. Hopefully you liked it, and I will catch you next time. Cheerio for now.